I'm back. I'm gonna go about 20 minutes before, just for Chris's stream, because I don't want to interfere with Chris's stream. Let me go ahead and get this link posted to the Telegram group and Chris's Telegram group if anybody wants to check it out. So just hang on 1 second. And hope you guys are doing well. Hope all is well. And sorry for that echo right there. Just hang on 1 second. And okay. Props to everybody who has tuned in. So just hang on 1 second. Let me get this link posted. And so, hope everybody's doing well. I'm going to talk about I'll talk about if you guys what is going on in South Africa right now. A lady named Joni Fredericks is starting a woman's only taxi service, and the woman's only taxi service is designed to help try to reduce sexual assault in South Africa. Joni Fredericks grew up in the Cape Flats, where sexual assault against women is rampant. So hang on 1 second. Okay, so what she's trying to do is trying to create a ladies only taxi service where ladies will feel safe. Now, I have mixed feelings about this, and I hope it does work out. I really do hope that the thing works out. Rebellious Ruth says, howdy, Brett. Howdy, Rebellious Ruth. How are you? And I hope it does work out, to be honest with you. Here's the thing, though, with that. The thing with that is I'm worried that if at a red light, a bunch of carjackers are going to see a woman driver and a bunch of only women in a taxi, and then they're going to see it as easy prey and hijack the car. Now, I would be 100% in support of this if the gun control laws in South Africa weren't so strict, but the fact of the matter is, it's very, very strict. It's very hard for the average South African to get a gun right now. And that's the sad part. It is very hard for the average South African to get a permit to have a gun. And if these ladies were allowed to carry a gun in their purse to defend themselves against assailants, I would be in 100% for it. But right now, I have mixed feelings about that situation. Also, has Tropical Storm Eloise hit South Africa yet? I've read the update on Mozambique, and it hit Mozambique very hard. Where it hit Mozambique, 11 hospitals have been damaged, 17 schools have been damaged, 9 schools have been destroyed, over 130,000 hectares of crops have been destroyed, and also 6,859 people have been displaced from their homes thanks to Tropical Storm Eloise. And pray that it doesn't hit South Africa like this, so please keep the nation of Mozambique in your prayers. Also going to talk about the ineffective and the hypocritical lockdown of what the ANC is doing. I discussed it yesterday, but it is ridiculous that they're not keeping the beaches open and you guys can't kayak, you guys can't whitewater raft, but people can fish. If they pay $15 for a fishing license, you can fish anytime you want to. Funerals can also have as many as 49 people at the funeral, and funerals are some of the worst places to get COVID-19. And then on top of that, the restaurants are allowed to go with limited regulations right now. Okay, Cameron, that your area has not been affected by Tropical Storm Eloise. What I did say is that it has hit Mozambique. It has hit Mozambique very, very badly. So just like I said, please keep Mozambique in your prayers. And speaking of President Joe Biden of the United States, he has banned travel to South Africa completely because South Africa is where the COVID-19 evolved. And I want to visit South Africa one day, but I do support this travel ban for the time being because we need to try to get the COVID-19 under control. So he's banned all U.S. travel to South Africa, and as far as I know, I think he's going to ban travel from South Africa to the United States because the ANC is not doing a good job with the lockdown. Bloomberg Business, who's normally very liberal and not critical of the ANC, criticized a lot of elements of this ANC lockdown, and they said the lockdown really doesn't make any sense, and the way the ANC is implementing the lockdown, it really doesn't make any sense with what's going on. It's just unfortunate, but that is true. It just doesn't make any sense with what's going on. Now I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk about what's happening right now in South Korea, and this one gold medalist. Zarko says, "How do you feel about the vaccine here?" I think people should get it if it gets available, but the ANC doesn't have plans of distributing it. Um, okay, they don't have plans to distribute it because, as I pointed out before, the ANC and the South African government is buying their vaccines from the National Serum Institute of India. They're not getting their vaccines from China. This is the same company that manufactures the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine in the UK, and that vaccine has been deemed 70% effective. Now, the vaccine that I got, the Pfizer vaccine, is 95% protecting against the virus. But the Pfizer vaccine also requires to be stored at a cool temperature, and the South African public medical facilities don't have the proper cooling units to house the Pfizer vaccine, unfortunately. So I believe if you guys can get the vaccine in South Africa, I think you should get it. Except one, consult with your doctor first. I'm not a doctor. Number two, if you've had allergic reactions to vaccines before, they recommend that you don't get it. Also, if you're pregnant, they recommend that you don't get it. 70% is better than 0%. I know people who have the COVID, who have gotten the COVID, and who've died from the COVID. The COVID-19 is a real thing. It originated in a lab in Wuhan, China. It did not originate from nature. But nevertheless, it is a real disease, and I believe we have to take it seriously. I firmly believe that we just have to take the COVID-19 seriously. But now there was this female speed skater named Shim Suk-hee from South Korea. She won 2 gold medals in Sochi Winter Olympics in 2014, and then she won one in Pyeongchang in her home country. Been sexually abusing her since she was 17, inappropriately touching her, inappropriately kissing her when she asked him nicely to stop. And in addition to the sexual advances and sexual assault, and I think one time he raped her, when she didn't perform well, he punched her in the head and punched her in the stomach. Well, recently he got sentenced to 10 and a half years in prison. I think he should have gotten 20 years, but 10 and a half years is better than getting off scot-free. And while most South Koreans have supported her, South Korea is a Confucian culture where challenging higher authority is sometimes looked down on. And that this may affect her future, where she may not get too many endorsements from companies, and she may not get accepted into university. So pray that she was a hero for doing what she did, but I just pray that she has a bright future ahead of her and not a gloomy future. And that's another thing I wanted to get to. There was this 26-year-old South Korean actress who's recently been found dead. The cause of death is yet to be determined. But she, more than likely it was a suicide. Celebrity suicide is common in South Korea, and I'm going to talk about the dark side of celebrity culture here. Now, with that being said, Western celebrities over there are typically not susceptible to this. So I'm not discouraging people from going and trying to be celebrities there. But there are a lot of other conglomerates that aren't celebrity related that will try to contact the celebrity's company, the motion picture company, or the music company they work for, and say, I will pay you and her so many hundreds of thousands of dollars if I can spend the night with her, or if I can go on a few dates with her. And I'm not saying that people should do this, but if you want to be a celebrity in South Korea, you go typically from high school to celebrity training school. Most celebrities, now there are some that do, but most celebrities over there don't have a college education. A lot of them have not worked other jobs. A lot of them don't have a lot of life skills. So they feel backed into a corner because most celebrities in South Korea are typically one-hit wonders, and they don't last past about 5 years. So they really worry about their future. And that's an all too common situation, and that's one reason suicide rates are high, amongst celebrities are high. Now, there's another reason that everybody, if you're South African, South Korean American, you need to hear this. Cyberbullying is common with these celebrities. If celebrities don't respond to the tweets or the texts that some of the fans send, the fans bully them over the internet. And then the fans say a lot of mean and nasty comments about them. Just ignore people. If people like Bianca Von Veek or Robin Pretorius just want to attack you on Twitter and stuff, a lot of times just ignore it. A lot of those people are just nothing more than suckers for attention. And they, if you just ignore them just let it go away, or go tell them to, excuse my language, go tell them to fuck off, it's fine. You're telling them to go tell them to go fuck themselves if it gets that bad. Don't go out and kill yourself because somebody's, making mean comments towards you. MF says, Brett says, no vaccine for me. Thanks, ivermectin It's sufficient enough to prevent you from getting COVID. There have been many cases that it is, and like I said, I don't believe that Pakistani doctor should have not gotten arrested in South Africa for bringing in ivermectin. Like I said, because I'm getting the vaccine, I don't think I'll need it more than likely. But I think ivermectin should be used right now, at least in the clinical trials and clinical experiments, because because we need to do everything we can to try to combat the COVID. Sargo says, "AK Ronaldo style." What are you talking about? Cameron with the scapegoat. Okay, Rebellious Ruth, how are you again? And Sargo says, "AKA Ronaldo style." Yeah, just tell them sack. I mean, like I said, if people are attacking you over the internet, just don't let them get to you. Life's too short to try to think that way. It's just not. No, I firmly believe that vaccines will be needed because while they don't have too much medicine to cure the flu, if you first get the flu, there's a pill called the Tamiflu that works, and it gets rid of the flu pretty good. But I'll tell you one story. One year I forgot to get the flu vaccine, and I had a bad strain of the flu. And I took the Tamiflu. The next day I felt better, and I had a light fever, and I was like good to go in 2 days. But at the same time, when I was having the flu for like 12 hours, I couldn't hardly move. I had to crawl on the floor to get the Tamiflu and take it with water. I mean, I was in that bad a shape. I could not half move. I was running about 107-degree Fahrenheit fever. I almost had to go to the hospital. So even with the ivermectin drug, I still recommend that people get the vaccine. And second of all, because that drug's typically reserved for animals, it's going to be a while before that drug gets allowed on the market to help cure COVID-19. That's what I firmly believe. So, like I said, I would still try to get the vaccine. Is my personal opinion. Now, with that being said, if you guys were trying to get the China vaccine, I might would hold off on it because China, it's only 50% effective, and that's what China's admitting. But it may not even be that much. But South Africa is getting the India vaccine or the UK vaccine. They're not getting the Chinese vaccine, as far as I know. The Bruce says, sorry, but our government can't keep a fridge closed, so sorry. I don't trust our government. I don't either, but I don't trust your government either, but I still think the vaccine's a better option than not getting it at all. And I'll give you an example. I mean, the people that have gotten the vaccine now, right now, my home state, we were averaging over 2,000 cases a day, and we're slowly but steadily going down in cases. We're now averaging under 2,000 new COVID-19 cases a day. And like I said, I firmly believe it helps, and the statistics show it. And it's just like, also, we'll talk about wearing a mask. We probably disagree on that, but I'm gonna tell you, Japan right now has 4,000 deaths and over 3,000 cases, but compared to the United States and compared to South Africa, that's small. And in Japan, hadn't been a government mandate, but society pulled together as a whole and decided to wear a mask for common courtesy to try to help curb the spread of the COVID. Well, so far it works. Taiwan did the same thing. South Korea has done the same thing, and a lot of the cases have gone down. I mean, it's still a problem, but the cases are mild compared to the rest of the world. To a lot of places compared to the United States, compared to Brazil, compared to South Africa, compared to the UK. And you look at the statistics of the COVID cases in Taiwan and Japan and South Korea versus the United States, the United Kingdom, and Brazil. So I firmly believe that wearing a mask is the right thing and the smart thing to do. Now, with that being said, I don't think people should go to jail for it. I think it's wrong to put people in jail or put people in prison because they didn't wear a mask and then release violent offenders. That is just crazy. And sometimes I wonder where Ramaphosa's head is, to be honest with you. Okay, what vaccines are you guys taking? Okay, but Zarko, I've said this before, but I'm taking the Pfizer vaccine. The two vaccines we have in the U.S. right now are Pfizer and Moderna, and they are about 95% protected against the virus. The AstraZeneca vaccine, which is similar to what South Africans are getting, the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine comes from the UK. It was their idea, but it was manufactured by the National Serum Institute of India. And that is 70% effective against the virus. And the reason the government has chosen the AstraZeneca vaccine over the Pfizer is because they don't have the proper cooling units in their hospitals to house the Pfizer vaccine because they embezzle all the money. They embezzle a lot of money. If they didn't embezzle the money like they did, they wouldn't be able to have the proper cooling units. So, and like I said, I mean, like I said, throwing non-mask wearers in jail is just fascism, and it doesn't work. Also, if you go surfing and you space out enough, you are not going to give somebody else the COVID, and you're not going to get the COVID-19. And the way the police went and chased those surfers down and threw them in jail in South Africa, that was just a ridiculous thing. And I was proud of Ronaldo. I mean, this was about 6 months to 8 months ago. I was proud that Ronaldo did a video on that, and that is just asinine that somebody would do something like that. And that like I said, surfing, when you're spaced out like that, you're not going to give somebody the COVID, and the chances of you getting the COVID are like 0.0001%. So that's just, like I said, it's just asinine that somebody would do something like that. But props to all you guys who have tuned in. I'm going to go about 4 or 5 more minutes because I don't want to interfere with Chris's stream. And in South Africa, well, let me rephrase this. Yes, I mean, if they did do a lockdown, they didn't enforce the lockdown with themselves or with ANC supporters, number one. Number two, they did a lot of crazy shit. Like, you couldn't go to the beach during the lockdown, which is crazy. And as I've said, if you go to the beach, it's an outdoor area, it's not an indoor area, and you space out and wear a mask when you're not in the water, you will be fine. Number two, they banned kayaking. If you kayak, you're normally in a kayak by yourself, typically. And if you space out with the other kayaks, you are not going to give anybody the COVID-19. That's number two. Number three, what they did is that they still allowed funerals to go on with at least 49 people, and funerals are some of the worst places for somebody to get the COVID-19. So it was a lockdown, but it was a messed up lockdown, and the Western media has just been just asinine in praising the lockdown. But props to Bloomberg Media for finally condemning the ANC lockdown, because it's not been a model. Over one third of all COVID-19 cases in Africa have been in South Africa. Okay? Now, where it's becoming a problem in Liberia, I can understand why people were protesting, because it was a sick situation involving the rape of a 3-year-old girl. This one guy had raped her. I believe she was 3 years old. She may have been 13, but either way, her area wasn't big enough, so he got a razor blade and cut above, and it drew nationwide condemnation because only 1% of rape cases in Liberia are prosecuted and convicted. And there was a lot of protests, but a lot of the protesters weren't wearing a mask, and they were cramped up with each other, and the COVID cases went up. Now, I don't blame the national outrage, and I can understand letting your emotions get the best of you in that intense of a situation. And George Weah, the president of Liberia, needed to make legislative change, and I understand why they did it. But when it happened, the COVID-19 situations just shot up, because a lot of the protesters weren't wearing a mask, and they were all crowns up, scrunched up with one another. New Zealand, they're not wearing masks, I believe. Yes, but there have been some forcible lockdowns that have gone on, and Jacinda Ardern had been covering up some numbers with the COVID-19. Also, they thought they had eliminated it from the area, but then it started to emerge again. So, yeah, in New Zealand, they're not, but as far as I know, but I don't know, like I said, if it's mandatory masks, but in Australia, the same thing. They're policing a lot of things and enforcing the lockdown. Maybe not with the mask, but making sure people don't go into restaurants, making sure they stay at home. If you believe in these stats, they're spearing and fooling yourself at night. No, that is not true, because I have not just discussed stats not just with politicians, but doctors have fed me stats as well. And they do believe that the COVID-19 is a real pandemic, and that you need to try to take all proper measures to ensure that you're protecting yourself and you're protecting your family. So no. Now, that being said, I hated how the Democrats and the Republicans blamed each other for the COVID, and they should have united and blamed the Chinese government, which they didn't do. Except for Trump, he called the coronavirus the China virus. Oh, Bruce is sorry, speaking speaking in Africa, well, I believe there are a lot more cases than the governments are reporting in Africa because a lot of the tests they've given are been insufficient, and a lot of the tests, they haven't distributed a lot of tests to the rural areas or to the sparsely populated areas, and and Vutsarko says we don't trust. I mean, I don't really trust the ANC either, but the vaccine that they're getting is 70% effective, and I would not, like I said, I think getting the vaccine is better than not getting it. That's my personal opinion, and if you want to have your own opinions with that, that's your deal. But you remember the last time when Thabo and Becky, and a lot of people believed them, white and black, denied the AIDS pandemic. 200,000 to 300,000 people died because of it. A lot of people lost their loved ones because of it. Studies proven that wearing a mask is more condemning to your health system. Yes and no. Here's where the wearing the mask. There are certain lung diseases that people have that they can't wear a mask. I can understand that. But what happens is a lot of times people don't clean their mask, and you have to clean your mask, and you can't just wear it every day and not clean it. So that is a lot of the issues with wearing a mask. So no, I'm not a sheep. I look at the cases before going in there, and whatever side I take, be it conservative or leftist or centrist, I look at the issue first and I thoroughly research the issue. I understand when you get busy with your life, you always don't have that luxury, but that's what I try to do. But look, anyways, I'm gonna sign off because Chris is about to be on the stream. I don't want to interfere with Chris's night owls. I'm not sure if I'm going to go after Chris's stream again because a lot of tomorrow's Tuesday. Tomorrow's a work day, so probably you guys need to be in bed after Chris finishes his stream. So hope if you guys are able to work during the lockdown. So hope everybody's doing well. Take care. God bless and bye bye.